Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels. Um, Obviously, Tyler's not here because otherwise you'd be hearing his voice today. He's got to deal with graduation. Well, actually, he has no graduation parties this time, but his son just came home from college and school year's wrapping up, all sorts of stuff and more stuff. So he asked for the weekend off, and since Phil has already been joining us across the interwebs,
I practice those, I swear.
he failed. He failed. I gave him the opportunity.
I'm out of web fluid. Oh
I
no.
wouldn't have normally even bothered, but since he told us he was going to be practicing them, I gave him the opportunity.
It was a thwoop thwoop, not a thwip thwip.
um, So Phil's joining us anyway, so he'll join us this week, and we rejiggered the awesome and spectacular a little bit because he doesn't manage to read as many new books, and that's cool because we understand that. Um, let's jump straight into our good news, bad news, and comics, and then oh God, what kind of week has it been? Um, so Dark Horse has expanded its global comics partnership to include day and date availability for sales, and an expanded catalog for global comics gold members. And it's also the first time that global comic gold members will get discounts on their stuff. I was just looking at some of the stuff available, and it's looks like $1 or $2 discount on most titles, versus their digital
So
price. Though this is where I'm also going to tell people, at least for the Hellboy universe, Mignola's been putting stuff up on Humble Bundle pretty regularly to fund World Kitchen.
mm.
Um, is there one right now? Uh, no.
So for Global Comics, I remember Mad Cave is on their day and date, and now Dark
Mad Cave
Horse.
is not only day and date, but they're day and date in the gold program.
Ah,
So
so
you
no
don't even
limits.
have to buy the new ones. I still buy physicals of my favorites, but
Hmm.
it's one of the reasons that I can always read a Mad Cave comic is that in
Heck yeah.
general, it's available to me the moment it comes out through my gold.
Yeah, isn't
Um,
I remember hearing isn't didn't Image put a bunch of stuff up on there too
Image has a
pretty
bunch of
recently?
stuff up. Oni has a bunch of stuff up.
Oh,
DC
okay.
has a bunch of stuff up.
Yeah.
Boom has a bunch of stuff up.
I mean it's getting
They're coming up on 100,000 comics total.
that,
Part of that is that they're also a platform that individuals can put stuff up. So they've got a
mm,
lot of web comics. That they're a pretty flexible platform. They can do scrolling. They can
mm.
do and obviously only if it's set up that way. But they can do standard format, scrolling format, panel to panel format, right to left, left to right.
Oh,
Um,
that just made me remember. Oh, this is a we'll keep this tangent short. Assorted assorted crisis events. Reading
so
that in
something.
scroll versus opening the physical issue would be a totally different experience.
It often
Totally
is. I mean, Tyler and I did a great responsibility on that, looking at the global comics vertical version of Money Shot versus
different. Okay.
the original Money Shot. And both ways are fantastic. And but they are different experiences. And we were impressed that uh, we wound up looking at, and I imagine that this could go either way in terms of how people adapt. But at least in what we looked at, it seems like they took a lot of care in deciding how much space was going to be between panels.
Oh,
They
okay.
kind of they kind of decided your pacing a little bit through the space between panels,
Right,
which is
right.
something that a vertical scroll can do in a way that uh, uh, regular comic can't, you know. I mean, that's
Mhm.
what I mean. One of the things that makes Lore Olympus great and why I haven't bothered to read it in the books, I only read it Vertical Scroll,
Wow.
is that um I hate it when I can't remember a name off the top of my head.
Ooh, oh, can I get to this one first, even though I haven't read it? I'm gonna.
Rachel Smythe
Yep, I was gonna hit myself as soon as I
um
heard it.
uses the form really well,
Oh yeah,
you
I mean
know.
the vertical scroll I think is really great when people lean into it and when they plan for it. You know, it can feel sloppy when it's either A, you're looking at one panel at a time, or uh, if someone's restructuring something, that can always go wrong. But yeah, I think it's a totally valid. If anything, I think, you know, given enough time, we could see evolutionary divergence between physical paper books and vertical scroll comics. But, you know, hopefully we can we can keep pushing the boundaries far enough to see that split.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean Global Comics has just been killing it. I wish that they'd get a little bit more searchable by um creator.
Oh yeah, that would be
Right now
great.
they're much more searchable by publisher.
Okay. It's better than nothing. I mean,
I
it's
mean, one of the things I used to love about Comixology before it got um pulled
gutted.
into Kindle was that like you could click on the inker,
That's awesome.
you
I
could
I would
click on
love
the
that.
editor,
Yeah.
you know, and wind up
I
finding all of the other books that they were involved in.
that is sometimes how I find new books to
Right.
to read
Right.
is literally doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I laughed because I started spending way less money overall on digital comics when they did that.
Mm.
I mean, it's like Amazon, you shot yourself in the foot from a sales perspective
Yeah.
because all of
Oh,
the ways that got me to buy random comics that half of them I haven't read yet.
yeah. They shot themselves in the foot from a sales perspective, from a formatting perspective, from a collectability perspective. They shot
Yeah,
themselves
but you
in the
know how
foot a
they
lot of
didn't
ways.
shoot themselves in the foot?
Oh, how's that?
They cut their web maintenance fee in half
Oh, gosh. I mean,
because rather than having to maintain both Kindle and Comixology, they just have to maintain Kindle.
yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to come up with a suitable analogy for that, but
I mean, they
yeah,
essentially gave up the hardcore comics market to do it,
they
but
did.
they
They
clearly
absolutely did.
decided that that was worthwhile.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I'm not saying it's
oh, I know.
a decision that I
Right.
would
We
have
know
made.
we know you would have gone the other way. You would have pushed
Right.
Kindle into Comixology and the
No,
traditional
because
book people.
Kindle has its own. Uh, I never would have, and this is probably why I will never make it in business.
Hmm.
Um, at least as things are situated in the United States right now, I would never have sacrificed quality
Yep.
for higher profitability. I
Yeah, I agree.
strongly believe that you should find the way to give the best quality product and then charge what you have to break even.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, not even break even, but break even with everybody getting paid reasonably.
Exactly. To survive, to live, you know.
I mean, I don't mind even getting rich off of it, but like
Hmm.
it shouldn't be because you got chintzy on your workers. It shouldn't be because you get people hooked on a product and then make the product worse.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, that's, you know, AKA what the vast majority of tech companies are doing these days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in not as happy comic news, um, but also not like surprising to those who've been paying attention. This is kind of a twofer. The first is that, and I think actually that this happened after. So I guess the first was ad populum. Yeah, there we go. Let's open up that article really quick.
The the link wave of layoffs at
Ad
Diamond.
populum, which is the Universal got the games, and
Mm,
ad populum got um most of the comic side, the toy side, etc. And this week um laid off a massive number of Diamond Comics employees. Um, so overall, uh, it seems like they're not even interested in comics distribution,
mm. Well,
um, which makes their like uh, it not that surprising that Penguin Random House has ended their um,
distribution arrangement with Diamond.
distribution through Diamond.
Mm,
So like Diamond isn't Diamond isn't even a wholesaler anymore
mm.
on Marvel, Distillery, Dark Horse, IDW, Boom.
Wow.
Um,
Oh, that's what that means. I see. I see.
right.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes parsing out through the legalese exactly
Right.
how bad or how disruptive this can be is a little bit of a
I mean,
challenge.
to be fair, Diamond hasn't put out their catalog for next month yet.
Oh
It should
wow.
have come out yesterday.
Wow.
Um, so it's not clear that Diamond planned to be a distributor for very long anyway.
Yeah. I think it might even be past the point where Diamond is allowed to have its own plans.
Right. Well, and
Yeah.
that's essentially what happened
Hmm.
is like they dragged this out so long that the
Yeah.
rest of the industry just planned around them.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I'll take this into the next point. What kind of week has it been?
It's been
Um,
that kind of week.
well, I think that the thing, I mean, with our big awful bill passing the House and headed to the Senate,
Hmm.
um, one of the things that I think is flying under a lot of people's radars that is both good and bad for us, because it's, I think, good for the world, and anything that's good for the world is not bad for citizens of the United States.
Hmm.
Um, is that the biggest thing that this regime has accomplished is the world has started planning without them.
Yeah. You know that's actually I think that could be a good thing. You know,
Right.
I think that in uh uh
We shut down research grants and attack colleges, and the European Union goes, we're setting aside $500 million for
yeah,
research.
you know,
Come
China
work
said
here.
yeah, China said, "Oh, we'll take all those brilliant international minds that America no longer wants." Hell yeah. Um
Well, I mean, it could actually wind up pushing places like China and India more towards human rights things because
that would
there
be
would
great.
be there's a reason to compete for the mines rather
Yeah.
than
Then
just the cheap
yeah,
labor type stuff.
yeah, something
Um,
like that.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
I,
certain we'll get a little bit more into that when we get down to Lazarus, but yeah, I mean, there are ups and downs of looking at the world in a national centric way.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I thankfully my dad instilled in me from a young age, one planet, one people, we're all human, let's get along.
yeah, yeah. So let's talk some new comics because we got a brand new batch of comics just solicited. I'm going to lead off with Blink and You'll Miss It from Ethan S. Parker, Griffin Sheridan, and Keith Browning. Um, on sale August 6th from Boom. Melody Nelson and Jesse Harmon fell in love long ago in the tiny town of Perennial Harbor. But since they parted ways, that place has grown stranger and stranger. Everything is just as it was decades ago, and strained smiles of its residents mask a bizarre secret. When Melody's life begins to unravel and she finds herself slipping backward in time, she must uncover the truth behind the mystery before it destroys her and the only one she's ever cared for. So, yeah.
That sounds good. I would love to read that. I
Well,
mean,
I loved their previous book, Kill Your Darlings.
okay,
Spent some time hanging out with Griffin at C2E2.
nice.
Definitely looking forward to this book.
Heck yeah.
You, I know, are looking forward to this book.
Oh yeah.
I am too.
They said it couldn't be done, but somehow they are back. Cemetery Kids Run Rabid from Zach Thompson and Daniel Irizarry. I am so excited that these guys got to continue their story because it was so cool the first time, and what they had planned for more sounded fantastic. You can't escape this game, even in your dreams. Acclaimed creators Zach Thompson and Daniel Irizarry enter a synapse shredding new level of the groundbreaking science horror hybrid that began with Cemetery Kids Don't Die. 1 year ago, four friends barely escaped the unrelenting terror of the video game called Nightmare Cemetery after spending endless hours locked into the innovative Dreamwave, the first gaming console played entirely while you sleep in order to save one of their own from the game's all too real consequences. They survived. Barely. But after their harrowing rescue, they've decided they've had enough of Nightmare Cemetery and its enigmatic final boss, the King of Sleep. That is, until the newest DLC, The Blighted Sprawl, suddenly appears online with a promise to reveal the truth of what actually lurks at the heart of Nightmare Cemetery's digital darkness, and why its effects are now bleeding out into the real world in an array of bizarre and disturbing new ways. The sold out series that AIPT called compelling sci fi horror that feels closer to home than it should returns with a perfect new jumping on point for the series that challenges Stephen King, Clive Barker, and David Cronenberg to a three-way PvP deathmatch in a cyberpunk haunted house. Hell yeah, I'm pumped. Uh,
I
this,
can tell you just
yeah,
love it so much. You went right through the highlighted part through
I
the
did.
end.
Well, it continued. It continued. The bleeding out into the real world was important.
I mean, yeah, kind of. I kind of like to leave the in stores August 13th from Oni Press.
In stores August 13th. There we go. Ooh, this was another one that I saw recently and was really excited for. This is Escape by Rick Remender and Daniel Acuna.
Hmm.
Um, the team behind Uncanny Avengers, way back when, is now doing a solo series from, or not a solo series, a creator-owned series from Image. Milton Shaw is a battle-hardened bomber pilot, flying missions over a war-torn world ruled by a ruthless empire. But when his plane is shot out of the sky, Milton wakes up behind enemy lines in the smoldering ruins of a city he helped burn. In less than 24 hours, his own side is dropping the big one to finish the job. Now injured, unarmed, and being hunted through enemy streets, Milton's only shot at escape comes from the unlikeliest place, a grieving father and his son, civilians shattered by the same fascist regime that rules this land with an iron claw, enemies by blood, allies by circumstance. Together, they'll have to fight their way out before the bomb drops and erases everything and everyone. And the big hook for this one is that they are anthropomorphic animals. They said, think Inglorious Bastards meets Black Sad.
Yep.
Um, that really clinched it. It was one of those where I was like, oh, this sounds
Oh
like
yeah.
classic Remender. This sounds like,
Yeah.
the nonstop action, heroes getting beat to hell, uh, blood loss and brain damage, Rick Remender. And anthropomorphic animal people, I will give 99 out of 100 to those series a chance. It's fantastic. It looks great.
Black Set is amazing.
Yeah, I love Black Sad. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
So from Image Comics on August 20th, this one I am so psyched for. I love the Jam comic on the front cover. Uh, Roy #1 from Fantagraphics Books on August 6th. The Hernandez family's role in history of comics is undeniable. Love and Rockets, Gilbert Hernandez, along with his younger brother Jaime and occasionally his older brother Mario, have pushed the boundaries of what comics can do. And Roy #1, the family's legacy expands as Gilbert teams up with his daughter Natalia. Fan favorite Everyman Roy returns in a two-part story, teaming up with the little stunt boy to deal with Roy's arch nemesis, the Froat, or should we say, the Froats. They're multiplying. Meanwhile, Natalia delivers a surreal 8-pager detailing an alien spiritual encounter. It's a family affair in stores August 6th. And we'll talk some graphic novels.
All right. This one is Canon by Lee Lai. A Lambda Award winner and breakout fiction sensation returns with a darkly funny slice of friendship strife. Once Canon and Trish were each other's lifeline, two queer second generation Chinese nerds trapped in the suburbs. Now, on the uncool side of their 20s, the essentialness of one another feels harder to pin down. In canon, Lee Lai's much anticipated follow up to the critically acclaimed and award winning Stone Fruit, The Full Palette of a Nervous Breakdown, is just a slice of what Lai has on offer. As Cannon's shoulders bend under the weight of an aging Gungan and an avoidant mother, Lai's sharp sense of humor and sensitive eye produce a story that will hit readers with a smash. Uh, in stores September 10th. This looks
From
fantastic.
Drawn and Quarterly.
Drawn and Quarterly, that's the one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also from Drawn and Quarterly, the new book from Mimi Pond. Uh, Mimi Pond crafts a gorgeous, dazzling biography of the Mitford sisters in Do Admit, The Mitford Sisters and Me. They grow up from cloistered turn of the century country girls into debutantes who would marry into political influence for better or worse. Is it any wonder that a young, working class Mimi in Southern California becomes enamored with the Mitfords' downright fanciful, rich, and famous lifestyle? This charming, inventively cartooned, and lovingly researched biography captures the dramatic, over the top antics of high society's strongest personalities as they rubbed elbows with some of the history's most infamous fascists and communists. Pond's genius for classic cartooning brings the aesthetic decadence of the 20s and 30s to life with effortless aplomb, warts and all. Uh, Do Admit, The Mitford Sisters and Me is in stores on September 17th from Drawn and Quarterly.
Hey, that's my wife's birthday.
It's
That's a
3 days
bummer.
after my son's.
Oh, fun. There we go. All right. So now, Hothead, I might pronounce this wrong. Hothead Paisan, homicidal lesbian terrorist.
I think it's
Uh,
Paisan.
Paisan, that's fair. That's fair. Hothead Paisan, homicidal lesbian terrorist by Diane DeMassa. Um, Hothead is the backlash to the backlash. That was a pull quote from Alison Bechdel that I didn't realize was a pull quote until I started reading it.
That's
Hothead
okay.
Hothead Paisan, a murderous icon of the 90s lesbian comic scene, comes roaring back into print in this fresh edition, including a new interview and supplemental materials of one of the funniest, sharpest, and most unexpectedly warm comics of the late 20th century. Still as shocking today as it was more than 2 decades ago. Diane DeMoss's Hothead starts out in a murderous frenzy, taking out a variety of chauvinists and creeps, but soon deepens into a reflection on oppression, self-destruction, and living it up outside the conservative norms of the 90s. Hothead's rage is sometimes tempered with the help of personality number two, her defensive inner demon Roz, or her defensive inner demon. Roz, her friend who offers zen, wisdom, and tough love, and Chicken, her cat and constant companion. At long last, that's okay. At long last, the most thoughtful homicidal maniac is back in print, apparently challenging Johnny for his title, which I think so. Yeah, I think this looks
Probably.
fantastic. I had no idea what this book was or about. I saw the
Yeah.
subtitle "Homicidal Lesbian Terrorist" and figured the world needed to know more as much as possible, really.
Whereas before I had even seen the title, I saw New York Review Comics and knew that we were going to be talking about it because they don't put out a ton, but the stuff that they put out is meaningful in one way or another. So from New York Review Comics on sale on August 26th. Ah, I'm a little sad that this won't be single issue anymore,
Oh,
but at least it's coming because it felt like it was in limbo.
oh, is this
Back
a
in print for the
re-solicit?
first time in over 75 years, the world's only hard-boiled boy detective, Kid Maroon. From the shared genius of Christopher Cantwell and Victor Santos comes an all-new Kid Maroon graphic novel featuring the rich history of Pep Shepard's beloved boy detective, including strips long considered lost to time. 2 years ago, Walden Maroon outgrew his small town, his loving parents, and the low stakes mysteries involving missing butterflies and stolen cookies. Since then, he's dwelled within the cesspit of Crimeville, where murders, vice, and corruption are the city's bread and butter. But at 12 years old, Kid is weary. When a string of horrific killings and arsons spring up in the streets, can he crack the case with his quick wits and slingshot? Or does Kid Maroon secretly yearn for what he's never gotten to be? A kid. From Vault Comics on September 24th.
That sounds fantastic.
Cantwell's
I
been having so much fun with this.
Nice. That's amazing.
Like he did up a whole dummy press release
Awesome. I would
because
say
yeah.
the silver lining or the change in perspective, I guess, of you said, "Oh, I'm sad this isn't in single issues anymore." I would argue that the single issues have just gotten bigger.
Overall, yeah. Yeah. But like mostly I'm sad that I have to wait till September when the single issues are
Ah,
supposed to start coming out in like February.
I see. It was a convert from single issue to OGN. I see.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Which, as I get older, I would say I I think that a hardcover volume is surpassing single issues as my
I
preferred format.
totally agree. I totally agree, though there were some really cool alternate covers.
Hmm.
I mean, I had actually ordered 4 different copies of issue one,
Nice.
which I almost never do,
Hmm.
but that's how cool the various covers of issue one were.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously Chris is a good friend,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, I just, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean it looks great. Victor Santos's art I have
Oh, I love
loved
Victor
for
Santos.
a while now. I forget the first thing I read of his, but I love the dark the more like it's sort of like a dark cartoony style, I would say, where it's not very realistic figures, but they are consistently on model and heavy shadows, dynamic action. He's great. He's fantastic. I'd read
Yeah,
him
no,
still.
I adore Victor Santos.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
And so, quick
Yeah.
question: is this creation is Kid Maroon? Is this based on a previous character, or
Oh
is
God,
it?
no.
Okay, okay. I
No, he
love the
created the whole backstory.
right. Yeah, that's one of those where I actually I while I am sometimes suspicious of, 75-year-old revivals, a fake 75-year-old revival is my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I don't know how much sense that makes to anyone but me, but
No, no, no,
that's
no. It makes perfect sense to me. A couple of collections. I have happily talked about this one. We had the publishers on Mask of Halia, Echoes of the Forgotten Past. It's volume two. You should definitely pick up volume one as well. As darkness rises and family secrets are revealed, the Mask of Halia, Echoes of the Forgotten Past plunges us deeper into the soul of ancient Filipino mythology with sinister forces stir and paths begin to intertwine. Haunted by fragmented memories, Isla races against time to unearth her buried past and protect the mask's new heir. This is from Caitlin Fagelan, Susan Bin, and Vic Kaido at Cuento Comics, which is now distributing through Clover Press. Um, yeah, Cecilia and Waverly Lim, the CEO and COO, were on the show
nice.
and are just fabulous. Um, so yeah, I highly recommend this book. And speaking of Chris Cantwell, you can just read all of this one.
All right.
I mean, you can skip the parenthetical stuff, but
Of course, of course. Born from one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century, Eisner Award nominated writer Christopher Cantwell and Eisner Award nominated illustrator Tyler Crook present the year's most taut and breathtaking graphic novel event. Convicts Frank Morris and Clarence Anglin have washed ashore in San Francisco after surviving their infamous escape from Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary in June 1962. They soon meet their gruff and disappointed handler, a mysterious young woman who's also running from something, and hope to quickly get their way north to the border, if they can even make it out of Modesto alive. As a dogged federal manhunt and chance encounters there threaten the desperate convicts, everyone involved is about to discover the same blood-stained truth. Life on the run is an even more hellish prison than Alcatraz ever was. Uh, this is a book that I have been hearing about on Blue Sky for a bit. I have seen covers a bit. I know Tad was pumped for it. I
you
am
you
excited to
didn't
read it one
listen to
day.
our interview with Chris and Tyler?
I need to catch up. I need to catch up on.
And
I know. The
this
gosh,
book
I
is
don't know.
amazing.
It looks amazing. I've loved Tyler Crook's art for a good while. I think Haro Country was the first thing I
Yeah.
saw him on, and Cantwell is also awesome. I need to read more of his books too. He's absolutely great. So this is fantastic. I didn't. I guess it's one of those. It was one of those books where, as soon as I saw the cover, as soon as I heard about it, I said, "Heck yeah, I'd read it." And I didn't even read a synopsis. I didn't realize it was based on a true story. Yeah, yeah. I do that sometimes where if a book if people are trusted creators and I know I'd like the book, I actually avoid any details so I can be as surprised as possible.
All righty. So, final order cutoff this week, we've got Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rite of Spring from Patrick Horvath, IDW, out July 9th. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah,
First volume was amazing.
I'm excited that that's getting a follow-up series.
Uh,
And yeah, that's my birthday, so
hey.
even more exciting.
Don't forget your briefcase number one from Elliot Ray Hall and Philip Sevy at Mad Cave on June 25th. Illuminati from Brian Edward Hill, Dennis Cowan, and Bill Sienkiewicz at AWA on July 2nd. Lazarus Fallen, number one, from Greg Rucka and Michael Lark at Image on June 21st, 25th rather. News from the Fallout number one. My interview with Chris Condon, Jeffrey Allen Love, and Michael Tivey is coming up soon. On June 25th. And Santos Sisters number nine from Greg and Fake and Mark Kopenarov from Floating World on July 30th. I will be talking to them again tonight. Um,
Excellent.
Crowdfunding right now, MFKZ from Willem Run Renard from Label 619 and Magnetic Press on Kickstarter through 5/30. Comics Courier issue 2 from Tiffany Babb on Kickstarter through 6/1. Our Tiffany Babb interview just went up. The Complete Lunch comics from James Vanderberg on Kickstarter through June 5th. Palomino volumes 4 and 5 from Stephen Frank and Dark Planet Comics through 6/6 on Kickstarter. The interview with Stephen Frank will go up very soon, probably the next day or two. Um, Lady Mechanica, the Mechanical Menagerie Part 1 from Madeline Holly Rising and Joe Benitez and Martin Montiel on Kickstarter through June 11th. This was actually one of Stephen Frank's recommendations. uh,
Nice.
Lake Yellowwood Slaughter, the comics adaptation of the 80s slasher movie that never existed by Alejandro Arbono and Gavin Guidry at Goats Flying Press through June 13. Oddly Compelling, the Dennis Kitchen Story documentary film from Ted Antorchio, Soren Christensen, and Tinto Press on Kickstarter through June 19th. We just posted the interview that I did with them a while ago. Ted, Soren, and Dennis joined me on 22 panels, and it is available now. And finally, the Ultimate Oz Universe, The Lost Lands from Cullen Bunn, Larry King, and Mike Diodato Jr. From AWA on Kickstarter through June 24th. So, Phil, we had to change the rules a little bit. Um,
I've unfortunately been
so
out of
rather
the
than
singles game
telling
too
the
long.
three amazing books from like
This
last
week.
week,
Yeah.
I know you haven't read three of last week's books. So, what are three books that you've loved recently?
Three books I've loved recently. First, this was a Christmas present to myself. It is The Moon and Serpent Bumper Book of Magic by Alan Moore, Steve Moore, no relation, and many more. Several artists working on the book. It is,
Did you say
if
and Mandy Moore?
I said, and many more. No, no, no. Unfortunately, a third more would be too absurd. Oh yeah, but it's weird, it's enlightening, it is mysterious. If you like Alan Moore talking about magic, it is a whole book of that. So yeah, cannot recommend highly enough. Admittedly, I haven't finished it, but it's going to be a book that I revisit again and again. Number two, a another book that I think I
Oh,
justified
this
it
one was so good.
as a late Christmas present. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
Anzuelo by Emma Rios. It is absolutely gorgeous. Just the handwritten lettering on the back cover, the watercolors are expressive and haunting. Yeah, this book is phenomenal. If again, pretty much anything Emma Rios does, I want to read. So this was a must buy for me. And then third, this was a book I'd been eyeing for a while and recently picked up on clearance and have been tearing through it. Is Bad Karma by Alex DeCampi, Ryan Howe, and Dee Cunniffe. It is what started out as a Marvel joke of Hell's Kitchen movie night between Bucky and Frank Castle, then turned into the seeds of that turned into this book without the IP attached, and honestly, I think it's
Right.
better for it. Um,
Yeah. I,
it's
I
yeah,
I love Bad Karma. I love Alex DeCampi. I
mhm.
mean, Alex is one of the few people that I know in the world that I always feel dumber than in
Mm,
like in a good way.
yeah, yeah, I could see that. I could see that. She's definitely one of
She
those
is
people that
absolutely brilliant.
yeah,
I love having her on the show.
yeah.
I love Bad Karma, and I'm going to give you a hard time and remind you
Mhm.
of Panel Syndicate because,
Yes.
well, having the hardcover of Bad Karma is a big deal. I have it
Hmm.
too and whatnot. Bad Karma has been available to read, pay what you want
Yeah.
since
I
issue one.
I know. It's
Next, you're
I'm
going to
late.
tell me that you haven't read Friday by Ed Brubaker and Marcos Martin.
I'm actually not going to tell you that because it's a little embarrassing because of how much I love those creators yet haven't read the book yet. Yeah,
All
my,
9 issues are available now.
I know. I Panel Syndicate is an amazing website that everyone should frequent way more often than I do. I was an early supporter of the site
I
when
mean, it's great to actually pay them, but they
yeah,
do not
oh yeah.
require you to because they
No, I
want
know.
people like Phil to
Yes,
read more comics.
they do. They do. And I love them for that. Their very first book, The Private Eye, is
Yep.
fantastic. It's one of my favorites. It was funny when they said, "We don't know if we'll ever do a physical edition of this book." And then they did.
And
And
actually,
they
no, their first book was Friday.
really.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what? I'm sorry. Is this a time travel joke? I remember you saying that there's time travel involved in Friday. And
I think I'm pretty certain
I'm I
that
am
that
I
that
think so. I'm pretty sure their first book was The Private Eye.
I mean, I was reading them from the beginning, and this is bad. The
Uh-oh.
Panel Syndicate is not coming up.
Uh-oh.
Please tell me the Panel Syndicate hasn't gone away.
Yeah. Let me see if I can do some simultaneous research here. Yeah,
But
I
but
have
no, I'm pretty certain. Oh, there. It just why did it open on my one browser but not the other? Oh, universe is
that's
still
a
going.
good question. Here
Um,
we go. At least on
I
Wikipedia.
think the. Oh, wait a minute. No, it finished in 2015. So no, it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
Private
Brubaker. It
Eye.
was Brubaker's first book on. Yeah,
Definitely, yeah, yeah. No, I was
yeah,
gonna say I was reading this. I was reading this in college. I remember when it was announced when it
yeah,
happened. I
yeah.
remember,
No, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, no, you're fine. You're fine.
I just remember how happy um but Private Eye literally started just at um the pandemic.
Private Eye
So it was like it literally the
or
first or not
Friday.
Private Eye, Friday
Friday,
was
right?
literally the first Wednesday that there wasn't another
Oh, there you go.
the first
Yeah,
Wednesday that there weren't new releases.
right. Yeah, that's
That was
so.
Friday.
I actually have an interesting little anecdote there. So I I had like that I was at a point where I was going to the comic store instead of every week I was going in once a month. So I had my month's worth of books at the store when everything closed. So I wasn't able to buy those that came out in March or late February until like June or later when everything reopened. And one of the issues waiting
Right.
for me was I want to say issue 28 or 29 of Sex Criminals, which was a, disruption of time and ended with like a massive so it was
Right.
one of those things where I was like it was surreal. It was beyond surreal of the synchronicity of like, oh, here's a time distorting explosion in my favorite series going on right now that feels like it echoed out into the real world.
So God, picking my books this week was hard. Um, because Daredevil Unleash Hell, Dark Empty Void, and Spectrum all totally stuck the landings. So, like, 3 fantastic series ended. Um, and I kind of like to highlight books as they end, is when they're that good.
Hmm.
But it just wasn't able to.
Hmm.
Uh, in the middle, Wonder Woman 21 ended a story arc and it was fantastic. Iron Man number 8 is in the middle of a story arc and Spencer Ackerman continues to absolutely kill it. John Allison on Great British Bump Off, Killer Bee Quilt continues to just delight. Um, Eve Ewing on Exceptional X-Men number 9 this week. Mark Waid and Chris Samney on Batman and Robin Year One this week. All of these were amazing books that deserve to be in my top three list. None of them were. I feel like this is the Chris Cantwell episode. Kid Maroon out of Alcatraz, and we're gonna say out of Alcatraz again with out of Alcatraz number three. It just continues to kill it. As does Star Trek Defiant number 27. The final Star Trek Defiant issue. We've got three issues left to wrap up Lore War and this era of Star Trek that Jackson, Colin, and Chris have put together over the last like 3 years now. And it's just been
Wow.
amazing. That was with David Tinto or David Tinto. Um, kind of a pardon the pun, sleeper book. Sleep number one from Xander Cannon blew my mind. I mean, it shouldn't surprise me because I love Xander Cannon. Um, but he continues to do new and different things with each work. This is about as far from a kaiju prison book as you can get.
I loved that Kaiju Prison book.
What?
I said I loved that Kaiju Prison book. It was so
I
good.
did too.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
And then any longtime listeners know that I love me some The Killer with from Mats and Luke Giacomin. They just started their new run, Affairs of State 2, number one. First issue was just beautiful. Beautiful. Anybody who hasn't read any of The Killer should pick it up. Um, this is their second run to come out. I don't know if it's coming out simultaneously in the United States or originally in the United States. You know,
Mm.
that the all of the early volumes were Bendis Disney. Um, but this is the second volume coming out through Archaea Boom. Um, after a pretty long hiatus.
Mm.
And a movie being made that I still haven't watched.
Oh, oh,
Netflix.
interesting.
Yeah.
There's there's a TV series called The Killer as well that I've heard of. Do you know if that's related at all or just
Uh,
happenstance?
I don't know if the Killer TV show. I know that there was a
Yeah,
movie in 2023 that's the one based
interesting.
on this.
Okay,
Wait a
it was
minute.
probably different because the one I'm thinking of was I want to say it was like a Dutch series maybe about detectives tracking down a serial killer, something like that. I'd
Oh
heard
yeah,
of it, I hadn't
no, no,
seen
no,
it.
no,
So,
no, no, no. The killer it is a contract killer.
oh, I see. I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Huh. I wonder how I hadn't even heard of this. I can't,
Again, we like spent 6 weeks on it a while ago. I'm beginning to think that you don't listen to us, Phil.
I don't listen enough, clearly. My preferred way of listening to the show is being on
Fair, 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 fair. Um, yeah, no, David Fincher, Michael Fassbender,
Oh, David Fincher.
um,
Okay. I am out of too many loops. How did I miss a David?
2023.
I missed a David Fincher movie based on a comic book. I was clearly not
I mean, it was
on
straight
my
to
game in
Netflix, or
2023.
I guess well, yeah, it came out on
I might have not had Netflix at
limited
that point.
theatrical release and then streaming
Okay.
on Netflix November 10th. So it was like out in the
Mm.
theaters for 2 weeks
Hmm.
and then on Netflix in 2023
Wow.
after premiering at the Venice Film Festival.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds good. I guess I'm gonna have
I feel
to
like it
watch that
got
tonight
mixed
then.
reviews, but
I feel like
Trent
everything
Reznor and
gets.
Atticus Ross did the
I think
soundtrack.
David Fincher comes with the Trent Reznor soundtrack these days. That's a given. Um,
And actually 85% positive critic reviews and
okay,
7.4 at Rotten Tomatoes.
that's good enough to give it a chance.
Yeah. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to watch that sooner rather than later.
Hmm. Hmm.
Particularly because uh, I've got a family movie club, and they keep using comic book movie as a pejorative.
Oh no.
Um, with
Oh
movies that
no.
aren't even based on comics. I'm like, can we
Oh.
please stop this? Because comics are a medium,
Yeah.
and
Oh my
and one that
gosh.
you clearly don't know that much about
That makes me I'm
if
okay.
you're using comic book movie as a pejorative.
So the first comic book movie to come to mind is The Old Guard, and if
Right?
they throw any pejoratives at that movie, I'd be disgruntled. So
Right.
give them that, see what they think.
Well,
American
actually, no, I think
Splendor,
the next one I'm going to do is
yeah,
here.
here, here.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a new Tom Hanks movie.
Okay.
And like I guarantee you
Hmm.
here.
Here, 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 here.
I guarantee you nobody's going to think of it as a comic book movie.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
And it's based on
I
one of the coolest, weirdest comic books I know.
really. What's what
So the
who did the
the
based
the
on?
the comic itself, the Richard McGuire comic,
Okay.
is almost entirely silent.
Oh,
Um,
wow. I
but
love silent
actually,
comics.
I think I have it. I think I have it.
And that no, well,
I
and
think I have it
unfortunately,
digitally. So
as
let
much as I
me.
love Tom Hanks and share a birthday with him, uh, you forgot to mention it's Tom and Hanks and Robin Wright.
Right. So the comic is
Oh,
the entire comic
oh,
is just
that is
this one
amazing.
angle on this one room,
Oh my goodness.
but it changed. Like, see, right here we got
Oh,
1957 and 1623, 1999,
wow. Yeah, this is
completely
incredible.
non-linear.
I love this.
Yeah.
This is astounding.
And
Is
they,
that just a preview or oh
no,
that was the Kindle. That was the Kindle. Okay.
this is Kindle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Definitely need to watch this movie and read this comic. This looks
And the
astounding.
movie actually
It looks like it,
captures it better than I expected that it would.
yeah, I mean it looks like
I
at
still
least the
prefer the comic.
uh-huh.
I'm not surprised that it has mediocre user reviews because
Hmm.
like it's pretty experimental.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the comic. Some people love it, some people think it's really weird.
I
Um,
I
but I mean,
unfortunately, I
here
mean,
you're looking at the trailer right now,
yeah,
or is
yeah.
it coming through?
No, it's coming through. It's coming through. That
Right.
looks, yeah, no, that looks like a suitably interesting film adaptation of a comic I was interesting or instantly fascinated and compelled by. So, yeah, I'd watch
I
this.
think I kind of one of the things I don't like as much is that
Hmm.
rather than giving us the corner, they give us the whole room.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
kind of
mean,
like the cross section of the comic
right? And
better.
that's the tiny excuse I'm going to give to that is that it I'm gonna
I
this
understand a lot of things cinematically to why they did it.
right, right. And that was where I was going with it is it was choice made for adaptation rather than translation. That's one of
Right.
my pet subjects of okay, they
Oh
say
yeah,
that
no, it's
yeah.
definitely an adaptation now. And as you should. You shouldn't be
Hmm.
trying to translate between mediums.
I have
You should
come
always be trying to adapt between mediums.
I
For that matter,
largely
I
agree.
think the best cover songs, even when you're in the same medium, are ones
Hmm.
where you adapt rather than translate.
I will definitely agree to that. I mean,
You know.
that's one of the reasons why I love heavy metal covers of like pop songs
Hmm.
is that they're usually even if I don't like the original, they're different enough that it's
Right.
interesting. As well
So,
as
so yeah, we just went off the
yeah,
rails a little bit there.
what rails?
All because we talked about The Killer, which I need to watch that movie now too. One Piece race, you're not reading. I'm through chapter 482. So,
I lost the One Piece race 20
well,
years
you could
ago
still
before I
catch up.
realized it even started.
$3 a month. You could have
I
your
know
Shonen Jump.
that's the I was gonna say that's the second bet. Well, that's probably I think price per volume wise, that's the best deal in
Yeah.
comics subscriptions. But
I mean, honestly, like if you're only spending $3 a month, I would go for the Viz rather than the Shonen Jump.
yes, I have heard of that. Yes.
Um, I mean, they're kind of tied together, and it's kind of a shame
Yeah.
that they don't have like a discount if you get both. But
Mm,
$6 a month for both is so inexpensive that like who
that's fair.
cares? Um, but like the Shonen Jump tends more towards action, and the Viz has some of the
Hmm.
action, but it's got a lot more drama and like
Right.
more of my favorite manga
I
are
think
on
I
Viz than Shonen Jump.
right. Yeah. I think that's the same for me at least. Well, I part of it is that I think because when I binged through a lot of manga splaining and I thought about getting a subscription to Viz, but I looked at it and several of the series that I was most interested in that they had mentioned or talked about weren't on there, and they were some of the
Yeah.
more adult, explicit ones. And I think that was kind of the line for
Some of them
me.
are available at the website, but not on the app.
Uh, that was it. That's probably it because it was Apple's stupid censorship rules.
I don't know if it's strictly Apple or because it's not, that's
Well,
true if you're on
I
your,
I do.
regardless of whether you're
Yeah.
Apple
The
or
again
Android.
to mention sex criminals, they were censored by the Apple Store in I want to say issue 11 or 12. When they were talking anyway, we don't need to get further off
Yeah.
topic. The
So
great responsibility for sex criminals can be pared down.
that'll come up
Yeah,
one day. That's
one day.
that's on our list of things to read. We love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Oh
love
yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
think Tyler's read it too.
I if
Um,
anyone does not love it, I would want to know why.
I mean, every once in a while you run into somebody who just like doesn't get it,
Hmm.
kind of like Saga.
Hmm.
And we try to acknowledge that they do deserve to continue to live.
I wouldn't go that. Well, yeah, I wouldn't go that far
I don't actually think that there
above.
are many people who don't deserve to continue to live. So
Yeah, I've got two on my list right now. Sorry.
yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh, taking a dark turn on this Saturday morning. But that is appropriate. Let's segue that. You want to segue that into great
Yeah,
responsibility
we
to
were
into
we were going
Lazarus?
right into it. So Lazarus
There we
number three.
go. Lazarus number three. This is another great issue. I want to say here. I want to give a spoiler warning. Spoiler warning for or potential spoiler warning. Tyler, if you're listening to this right now, please disregard the next 2 minutes or so of what I have to say.
Well, hopefully
Um,
he's read it anyway.
no, as in this is a spoiler for down the line
Oh,
past issue
okay.
three. Yeah, since
Gotcha.
this is a reread, one of the things I picked up on is on page one, two, three, four, five, on page 6, the panel where Jonah is yelling at I forget his name, but this James, the scientist James, he's yelling at him. He says, "The old man's not going to be around forever, James. You might want to think about that." I realized this time on this read that there is potential syntactic ambiguity if Jonah means forever the person, not forever the temporal concept. But then I was struggling to think of how that could be used. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, but
there's
yeah,
well, I mean, if we're getting spoilery,
mhm.
forever's not the first forever.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Is not only is she not the first forever, but from a certain perspective, she's not even herself, you know.
Right.
And that's what I was thinking of. But so it was an interesting line for those who are current on the series and have read the most recent couple of issues. It was also interesting, when she walked into the Moray territory and talked to a member of the family. I was, you know,
Well, and started with the
immediately,
other Lazarus. I
yeah.
really actually enjoyed a lot um the two Lazaruses.
Oh yeah. all of the
Um,
Lazaruses are show stealers in this series.
but just because like they're so aware of their positions, and they
Yeah,
know that there's nobody else in the world that understands them.
yeah.
This like I enjoy spending time with you, but if I'm told to, I have to chop you in half.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it's brutal.
Because that's my job.
Right. Oh, it's like it's like being in a poker game with your only friends, only death is the stakes, It's yeah, it's great. I love the implied tragic romance between the two of them. But no, what I was going to say is again the walking into and talking to uh member of the family Murray in I want to say Lazarus Risen number 5 to echo against
Sounds
that
right.
reason issue. Yeah. Um was like, you know, holy shit, we are far enough into this series you know, to see this world in a different state from how it is. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about it is that I feel like there are a lot of comics that try to tout how much they change over time, and the phrase "things will never be the same" has been hyperbolized beyond belief. But this series actually does not make those claims, but delivers on those concepts. You know?
Yeah, this is definitely one that's about the family drama more than
Yes.
anything.
Oh yeah.
You discover that the old man knows exactly what Jonah's doing.
Hmm. Hmm.
You discover that Jonah is too dumb to realize that his sister is probably playing him.
Right. Oh yeah.
Um, his sister, that's not that much smarter because she's essentially like teasing him with the fact that she's playing him.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. That was also admittedly, that's one thing that I am going to be paying the extra attention to on this reread is Joanna as a character, mostly because I feel like she has a pretty strong turn coming up in the next arc that I, while I knew that this is kind of how she was in the scheming, playing games, seemingly frivolous and cutthroat at the same time. She becomes very different very quickly. And one of the things that's been in the back of my mind reading the series as it continues is, okay, how much is she still playing people? How much is she being truthful and honest and trying to you know to do what's best for forever versus attempting to gain power for herself? You know, but yeah, but that's the thrill of it. That's the thrill of it. Is Yeah, I really do think that Rucka's character work is just unparalleled in the level of detail applied, the forethought put into what people are saying and how they're saying it. Um, it's one of those things that yeah, he's on another level compared to so many other series, as well as I'd say that I absolutely love the artwork as well. I feel like the coloring is only getting better and better. Santi Arcas is someone who I don't know if I've ever seen their work on a book other than this one. Um, and while it is a bit more subdued in color than a lot of comics, it's more dull, it's more gray and brown. It's closer to the aesthetic that you see a lot in modern video games of dark and brown and gray, but there are also these moments of these blues and greens, these turquoises that pop without overwhelming that I find so beautiful. When she's drawing the guava fruit, it looked I actually well I thought it was a papaya first, but it looked delicious. As well as the shifting levels of detail in the penciling and inking and the shift of focus in, you know, here's what you should look at. There's so much going on in the art team. This is also the first issue credited uh, where Michael Lark's art assistants are credited, Stefano Guadino and Brian Level. Um,
All right.
I've always
Oh,
been
Brian Level did
I love Brian Level. Yeah,
yeah.
he's done a lot of great stuff.
Yeah. It looks
I
like
didn't,
Santi Arcus only colored
huh?
this issue.
You mean this
Or
series?
wait a minute. No, that's weird. Only being credited with coloring issue 24 here.
Yeah, they've definitely been on the series the whole time. I don't think it's ever differed. Um, but yeah, I haven't. I mean, you know, credits can be a little Santiago. Okay, that's most likely he. I wasn't sure
Right,
where the
right,
permanence
right.
fell. But in any case, yeah, I'm always curious. And the reason I said art assistants as opposed to inkers is because they are credited as with.
As art assistants.
Yeah, they're credited as with. So it's
Right.
one of those where I'm always curious the level of shared work. One of my favorite moments in the Hellboy universe is when Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba were working on BPRD Vampire, or I think it was 46 first and then Vampire, but you have instances where one of them draws the characters and the others draw the backgrounds and various things like that. And I love jam artwork in that sense where you're mixing styles subtly. And I know this one is not jammy in that they're trying to go for one cohesive, unique look, but at the same time, I'm always curious how the workload is shared and who does what and those sorts of things.
Right.
It's fascinating. Um, and I do know that eventually Brian Level moves on from assistant to artist in his own right. Um, because I know I don't remember when, but I read a series from him, and I don't remember. I think the writer
Brian
was
Level
Ed
did
Brisson. The
one
Mantle.
of
That was a image miniseries that I wish turned into a recurring series. I really liked that one. That was great.
Brian Level did one of the issues of Night People with
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember hearing that.
with Chris Condon.
Hmm.
That's how I know him.
I know he also does tattoos, so you know,
Yeah.
that'd be if I ever
I
get more
also know
tattoos,
that about him.
I'd be interested maybe. I because I'm you know I'm between tattoo artists at the moment.
It's like he's got a story in the upcoming Predator Black, White, and Blood.
All right, and we know that Stefano Guadino eventually goes on to ink Charlie Adlard in the later end of The Walking Dead. Um, so so yeah. Uh, I was gonna say, I think it's hard to pick a favorite panel in this issue. My first one was the first one of Forever just saying no. I think
Right.
is great. But then also the scene where she uses her blade is
Yeah.
phenomenal. Um, and yeah,
I think I
it's
actually like the I'd like that silhouetted sunset that
Silhouetted
they're
Sunset.
bottom corner of page 23.
Oh, towards the end. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that I remember towards the end that one. Yeah, that's a good one. The expressions, the look shared
Before they
between
get blown
them.
up.
Yeah, well, not blown up enough.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
I
Um,
do.
I
Anyone
was
else?
also very fascinated with um this issue's timeline
Yes,
information.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
The first thing I would
like
say, oh, sorry, you go ahead.
you see a year where they seem to be working against the Macau Accords.
Hmm.
But then with unrest in Europe, multiple governments agree to the relief programs, and then the Supreme
Hmm.
Court upholds the Corporate Citizenship Act.
Yeah.
And then 3 years after the Macau Accords, you've got the dirty bomb in
Yeah.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
Um,
And then yeah, you said X plus two is the Corporate Citizenship Act, and then X plus eight,
right,
corporate stand your ground, which are just
right. Um,
incredible phrases.
well, and like also in X plus eight, you have um, POTUS signs executive order curtailing corporate military.
Hmm.
House
Hmm.
immediately passes
Yep.
the corporate stand your ground.
Hmm.
Bill
POTUS
passes the Senate,
vetoes.
sent to POTUS, who
Yep.
vetoes it, and the veto is immediately overturned.
Yep. Which is
At
unthinkable
which
in
point,
today's
social media
world.
declares the United States bought and paid for.
Yeah.
Um,
I, you know, one of the things in those timelines, looking out similarities to our world today as well as differences, I want to immediately say to you, you think Pope Nick is from Chicago? But then X plus five, Detroit unincorporates. Didn't something like that nearly
no,
almost?
not yet.
No, not yet. Well, I know they bounced back a bit. Um, so that I was hoping was at least a
I
point of
mean,
difference.
it's pretty far from actually unincorporating, but yeah, no,
Hmm.
there are too
Yeah.
many parts of this timeline
Hmm.
that line up pretty well to 2020.
Yeah. Well, I was also continuing that one of the things I'm hoping for is that as it becomes clear that the U.S. is barreling headfirst towards the world of Lazarus, I'm hoping that the rest of the world can hold back, you
Not
know.
barrel with them.
Yes, that,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
this is what we were talking about
absolutely.
earlier.
Yeah.
Um, I've been very pleased at how quickly the rest of the world um has started planning without us.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and like I binged it
Hmm.
where I was listening to it while I was reading other things.
Hmm.
But in this month's news for this issue,
Hmm.
Rucka talks that he's reading Robert Kaplan's The Revenge of Geography.
Hmm.
Um, so like I said, I binged it this week.
Hmm.
Um, and it's going to be interesting to see how it, because among other things, it was a new book then, um,
Hmm.
which is what, 2013, twenty
Yeah.
fourteen that this issue came
Uh,
out.
13. Yeah.
13. So it was a new book then, and it's like already been prescient about a number of things, pointing out that Russia is infinitely more powerful if you add just the Ukraine.
Yeah. Wow.
Um,
What
Talking about
do you mind expanding on
between
that just a little bit?
um Russia, let me pull up a map
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
like I was
Geography is a weak point of mine that
and it's a weak
yeah.
point of mine too, but
That's why I was like, oh, I can understand that because they've been fighting over it for past 20 years, give or take. But exactly why that is what I'm curious about
um
because that seems it's
I
exceedingly
mean, first
relevant.
of all, it post-Soviet Union is
Hmm.
they became smaller than they've ever been.
Right.
Um, and see,
Oh wow. I
but but the Ukraine
uh-huh.
connects them better to the seas,
Oh, I
has
see that. Yeah.
bigger,
I
significantly better. I mean,
in
because so
positioning
much
the
of
road. Yeah.
Russia is not particularly arable land.
Yes. Yes.
So,
There's a
so
lot of
like
ice and
it, but also it's like 14 million people.
wow.
So it
Okay.
immediately makes them much bigger.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, so it's a population center too. I see.
because like here's the Arctic Circle. So like
Uh-huh.
half of Russia's current landmass is above the Arctic Circle. It's not
Yeah. Yeah.
useful in most
It's
conventional ways. For that matter,
yeah.
their seaports are
Yeah.
mediocre because they're so far north that they're.
Yep.
I mean, this is actually why China,
Hmm.
particularly if they have good relationship with Mongolia or Korea, etc.,
Hmm.
is just built as a powerhouse
Hmm. Hmm.
because it has real seaports,
Yep.
real stretch inland.
Hmm. Hmm.
Iran is like a major power as well, particularly because
Hmm.
they're way further, um, way more advanced than most of the Middle East.
Yeah.
Um, Turkey is what connects Europe to the Middle East.
Hmm.
Afghanistan is essentially between,
Africa and Asia.
well, between the Middle East and China,
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah. 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 That's a good point.
you know. Um, Being a continental power, in other words, like crossing the continent
Right.
makes you, um, and like unnatural borders are just that they're so
Hmm.
things that involve, yeah. Again, I did the audio version of skimming it.
Right. Oh, listening
uh
to it on 2.5 speed.
no, I was listening to it at regular speed, but I was reading
Yeah.
comics while I did it. I was
That's
doing
fair.
other stuff while I did it.
Yeah.
um but I'll definitely be looking at it more as the series goes because um I can already see some of the ways, because I don't have we seen a map yet of how
Of
the
Lazarus,
world is
not yet.
split up, and okay.
There
uh
is eventually, but I
no,
think
I know that
yeah,
there are, but I don't want to talk about it until we actually see it.
sure.
um but yeah, no, a lot of how things wind up getting split up is very suggested
Hmm.
by the book.
Yeah, I it's funny. Most of my geography basis comes from Risk, the game of
Right.
Risk.
No, I
So it's
understand, me too.
yeah, yeah. It's immediately
um
fascinating seeing how large Ukraine is as a territory on the game board of Risk, and yet how small comparatively it is in in this map that we have pulled up. So that's another
but
thing.
I mean, as small as it is,
Hmm.
the only European country that has more land masses may be France.
Yeah, yeah, that is, and that's another. Or I think Sweden up there, but that's
Okay,
again
yeah, Norway,
largely
Sweden,
ice and mountain.
Finland, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
again where
yeah,
they've got big chunks above the Arctic Circle.
yep, yep, yep. But yeah, no, that's definitely.
Ukraine is in like
Hmm.
perfect.
Uh,
It
it's about the
and that's
same.
the other thing, is that apparently things spread better east to west than north to south
Yep, that makes sense because of
because of
the
similar
latitude as opposed to
climates.
longitude.
You
Yeah,
know, yeah.
yeah.
So definitely something to wind up um, discussing more.
Hmm.
Um, and something that fascinated me.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think this is an even better projection in terms
Yeah,
of
yeah,
size Y.
absolutely. Well, it's got at least a partial curvature count for, which is,
Right.
something that
Well, the
is
other one
missing
was
from
a better
platforms.
projection than your average on the wall at school map.
Yeah,
But this one looks,
better than that even.
yeah. Yeah, I might have to see if I can find a good mapping tool where we can quickly
Hmm.
find out information.
Yeah, it
Um,
does. It does look like it's slightly similar latitude to Canada.
yeah,
Like
New
not,
England,
yeah,
Montana, Wyoming.
yeah, it's getting close to that. Yeah. So,
I mean, here's the latitude.
hmm,
The very northern tip of U.S. latitude
hmm,
goes right through Ukraine.
yep. So southern Ukraine is like Maine, New England-esque, possibly.
Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming,
Yeah.
Washington, Idaho.
Hmm.
In other words, pretty nice places.
Hmm. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know,
Yeah, and I can see how, geographically positioning the Ukraine, it is absolutely, uh, you know, the first step into Europe for Russia and
yeah, it's what makes
maintaining.
it a
Mhm,
a Eurasian country rather
mhm.
than an Asian country.
Well, as well as again from a military perspective, it's
I
if
mean,
if you're
they're
gonna,
the smaller ones. You got Belarus and Lithuania and
yeah,
Latvia and Estonia, but those,
it's you could while you could mount an offense through those areas, Ukraine is the best position
right,
to invade Europe. It because it's centralized and it extends further inland than any of those. The Balkans, especially, lead to the inner seaports that can be blocked by the UK and Germany, and the Scandinavian countries, whereas Ukraine down there is pointing directly into the center landmass to, you know, if that changes hands fully and completely, then Russia is on the doorstep of Europe. So yeah,
right. Well, and has access to the Mediterranean in a more meaningful
yes,
way.
as opposed to I don't know whatever seaports are on that northeastern side of the Black Sea, but
I
yeah,
mean,
I can.
Russia does have some access, but
Hmm.
because Ukraine and Romania and Bulgaria and Turkey all have as much or more,
Hmm.
they can't necessarily control.
Right. Plus, I don't think there's a ton of trade going on the Black Sea just because of how.
No, it's the access to the Mediterranean that
Yeah,
matters.
yeah. That's what I
And
thought.
that goes through Turkey,
Right.
um, which Russia has a decent relationship with. Right? Yeah,
That's
it's
what I
just, yeah.
thought.
Um, yeah. Yeah. Fascinating things to think about and
Hmm.
think about more as we go,
It's.
the more we have a technological world, the less
Mhm.
we think about geography, which
Right, right.
doesn't mean that it doesn't matter, particularly
Hmm.
when it comes to resources and trade. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
the other thing that really caught my eye, and tell me that this doesn't sound just too prescient. X
Mm,
plus 10, Family Carlisle institutes labor reward program as incentive system for workers. At the
mm.
same time, Family Carlisle enlists community-based religious groups to assist in the distribution of food and medicine to those in need. Several other families emulate Carlisle waste management techniques.
Oh, see, and that's one of those where the phrase waste management techniques really, really jumped out at me, but the early parts of that didn't as much. And when you restated it, I was like, how did I miss that? And I'm like, oh, because I focused on that. But yes, absolutely. Between that and the Pope meeting with a CEO. uh, were some of the biggest indicators to me of, oh, well, this is how they they shift influence in a social way as opposed to a hard way. It's the shift
Well,
of
I
soft
mean,
power.
they do almost all of their influence shifting through jobs and culture.
Hmm. Hmm.
They do minimal fighting to take over.
Yeah, that is the scary part.
I mean, what's kind of left out is like how willingly did people give up their power?
Probably about as willingly as we are today. Uh,
It
you
does kind
know,
of feel like it, doesn't it?
it does. It does. I mean, let's even yeah, to put myself in the hot seat of it, with the big scary bill coming around and everyone's talking about call your senators, call your senators, call your senators. Uh, I I don't remember the name of one of I live in Tennessee, so one of my senators is Marsha Blackburn, who has been labeled one of the worst women in Congress, who has profited off the opioid crisis, who has been into a hair salon that my wife worked at, and she was a up there with worst customers next to Roseanne Barr. Um,
Hey,
yeah, so it's one of those sorts of things. Okay, and then apparently the other one's Bill Haggerty. They're both Republicans.
yep.
I know that I've seen online people talking about here's a script if you're liberal and live in a red state for how to potentially influence them. I worry that I can't.
I mean, the answer is it won't.
Yeah, and I feel like it will.
Um,
And that's where it's at that point where
I mean, the
I don't
reason
know
why
what
it
I can
still
do.
isn't important is we're definitely at a point where, like, anything you can do, you should do.
Hmm.
Um, but if you're not up to making that phone call, then you can't do it. And you
I've
find it.
left.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're on this podcast instead.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point. It's a good point. I'm on
Um,
this podcast. I try to contribute other things in other ways.
you
100%.
know,
You
I
know.
try to march when I have the energy, but I'm
Yeah.
autistic and I don't like crowds
Yeah.
and
Well, and
like
you've
I'm
you've
very
had a
picky about.
couple,
Right,
not to hit a sore spot, but you had a mobility based health thing not too long ago. So
right,
that's something on my mind because, my dad is he's in his early 60s, but he has a persistent medical condition to where he hasn't been able to work for the past few years.
right.
It's been mysterious and diagnosed. And so he's one of the people that, he absolutely contributes in non-marching ways because he can't stand for that long.
I,
He
I
can't get
I
on his feet.
contribute by spending way too much money on artist Patreons and
Hmm.
journalist Substacks,
Yep.
you know.
Hmm. Money
And like,
directly to people. Yes.
well, directly to people who are also doing things that are important.
Right. That's what I meant is that your dollar goes further when it goes directly to the people making the thing as
Right.
opposed to when it goes through corporations first.
But also, like, there's never been a time more important for art.
Agreed. Hard agreed. Yeah. I mean, in the
There's
face of
never been a time more important for independent journalism.
hard agreed as our state spoon-fed media
Right.
situation
Um,
goes. Yeah, we need
I
Spencer
mean, I don't know.
Atkins.
Do you
We need
read
more
Ken
other people.
Klippenstein at all?
Unfortunately, no. My I need to start. This is where I think I mentioned you when you mentioned to me earlier, and I said I need to drop some streaming subscriptions and pick up reading subscriptions because
Well, I mean, most of
I
the
need to
best
prune my media garden.
most of the best journalists, you don't have to pay for them. I
Right. Yeah.
choose to.
Hmm.
I can't even remember if I pay for Klippenstein.
Hmm.
Um, but he's had the FBI visit twice this year because he printed things
Jeez.
that other articles wouldn't print or other
Oh,
newspapers wouldn't print.
don't like
He
that.
he put out the manifesto from
From
the
the United
anti-Semitic
shooter.
shooter.
Oh, the anti-Semitic shooter. Okay,
Yeah,
I see.
he put out the J.D. Vance dossier
Oh, that's a
that
good one.
Trump had put up,
Yeah.
or that
I
Trump
mean,
had done before he
Trump's analysis of JD Vance before picking him?
Right.
Wow, that is fascinating. You know,
Um, I'm
it's
trying to remember what the first one that he put up.
uh-huh.
Um, I think it was actually before the election even. He wound up pissing off the Biden administration too, because there was something that nobody else was willing to print.
Hmm.
Um, that when it got sent to him, he's like, "No, this is newsworthy."
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I have enough information that it's real. This is
hmm
newsworthy.
right.
Oh, yeah, he put up the Rubio dossier.
Oh, okay. Wow. He even
Um,
posted about Mudang.
well, and see, he also,
Hmm.
when he know a forged U.S. intelligence report is circulating. So this is one of the
Wow.
ways where you know that he like doesn't
Yeah.
just,
No, that's huge. That's important. That's stuff like that is definitely important
you know,
today. Yeah.
yeah, FBI knocked on my door. This was during the Biden
O-
administration.
yeah. October 14th, pre-election. That's astounding.
Right.
Um,
Which one? Well, which
yeah.
one was that for? That was for, oh, that was for the J.D. Vance dossier.
Damn.
Well, because there was some indication that who had spread it was like Iranian intelligence or whatnot. And he's
Uh-huh.
like,
See, and that's one of those things where
I mean, I think his argument essentially came down to, um, no, it's not great that this is how it's getting out.
uh-huh.
Um, but I verified it.
Yeah. That's one of those things where
It's not.
this might sound a little weird to say, but I think I might like Iran and I need to learn more about them as a country and as a culture because, you know,
You know, they often
from
have really bad leadership, though that's
hmm
sometimes our fault.
exactly, exactly. And recognizing those sorts of things of like these people supposedly hate us. I wonder why. You know, let's unpack that a little bit. Let's look back more than 2 years. Let's
Right.
let's look back a good 20, 30 years and see what's been going on.
50,
Yeah,
100 years. I mean,
50,
you got to
100 years. Yes,
remember,
yeah, yeah.
Persia is Iran. So,
Oh,
like,
amazing.
the you don't have to go far for
Hmm.
them to be among the most progressive cultural and scientific societies
Right.
in history.
Yeah. Especially in the region, I'm sure.
Right. But I mean the amount of mathematics, the amount of
Hmm.
I mean we use Arabic numerals.
Love my Arabic numerals. Oh,
And if you don't know why that's important, try
yes.
multiplying with Roman numerals.
It gets tough. It gets real tough. Real tough real quick. For that matter, try doing math in binary. You know, that's one of those things that I think about a lot, having learned
So
about
yeah,
history. But
no, I mean one of the reasons I've been trying to learn so much about other cultures, period, is
hmm
like I'm aware that even as somebody who's gone out of my way to be critical of my own nation, to try to learn other cultures and
hmm
whatnot,
hmm
I have all sorts of internal biases.
yep. It's hard
Don't
to.
actually, you know, and that's one of the things that and why I'm going to need to give a deeper look at that book is like,
Hmm.
um, I'm forgetting the name of the author right now. Let's look him up. He's clearly a journalist who's,
The geography, the
yeah, that's
geography book,
been a
that
lot of
one.
places
Let's see
and
here. It
talked to a lot of people.
is uh
Uh,
Robert
Robert
Kaplan.
Kaplan.
Robert Kaplan, yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's
It's
got
yeah.
some very uh, interesting things to say about other um,
Parts of the world.
parts of the world, and like their motivations,
Mm-hmm.
like and without being strictly um no foreign correspondent
Mm-hmm.
is what he was primarily, so journalist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, uh, I mean, at this point, we're probably rambling too much, but
That's
there's
fair.
there's going to be more to mine with this series. Um,
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I
I,
mean,
I love Rucka because he's so serious about his research,
oh yeah.
um,
Oh yeah.
that sort of thing. But we should wrap up. We've been at this for a while.
That's
Uh,
fair.
this is a weird week where my top three books. Uh, and I'm going to say again that this is a hard week because, like, thank God, two of them I've read. Futures number one and Howl number five are both amazing. Um, I have no doubt that Absolute Wonder Woman number eight, Bitterroot the Next Movement number three, Daredevil Day in Hell number two, Dark Pyramid number three, Department of Truth, Mommy Blog, Pale Knight, Power Fantasy, Rat City. I can't believe I didn't put Ryan North's Star Trek Lore War Shaq's Worst Day on my list. Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss have their competing books coming out next week, as we also have Who Are the Power Pals. Great fucking week for comics. But
Next week is also Assorted Crisis Events and the Power Fantasy, I'm pretty sure. Oh, you mentioned Power Fantasy already.
yeah, I mentioned Power Fantasy, and dude, you've got the rundown right in front of you. I'm
Whoa.
now getting
Ah!
to the three books that I think are
Oh
spectacular,
no. I
where,
spoiled you.
where one of the problems was three writers who I always look forward to their books have
Yeah.
two books apiece coming out next week.
Six
From
books to
Dennis
add six
Camp.
will be spectacular.
For Dennis Camp, we have Assorted Crisis Events number three and Absolute Martian Manhunter number three with Eric Zawadzki and Javier Rodriguez, respectively. From Jeff Lemire, we have Minor Arcana number seven, which he draws himself, and Black Hammer Spiral City number six, drawn by Teddy Christensen. And from Chris Condon, we have The Goddamn Tragedy and Green Arrow number 24. Goddamn Tragedy is drawn by Sean Curanero, and Green Arrow number 24 is drawn by Montos. They are all pretty much guaranteed to be spectacular. Yeah, I'll say that. Pretty much guaranteed to be
Yeah.
spectacular.
This is a big strong list, that is for sure.
Yeah.
For my twist on that, I have three books
And I'm
I'm looking
actually
forward to
impressed
reading.
that there's only one book on that list that I
Uh-huh.
have read.
Oh, nice. So the first one is another Christmas gift that I haven't gotten to dig into yet. It is Work-Life Balance, Malevolent Managers and Folkloric Freelancers by Benjamin Chi and Wayne Rei. Apologies on the pronunciation of those because I am not sure how correct they
Right.
are. But it is a mixture of prose and comics. The back cover is when a menacing multinational arrives on our shores, familiar creatures like Pontiacs, Mananangals, Rexasis, and Bajiao Guis are forced out of their jobs. Apologies on pronunciations for all of those as well. Some give in and sign up for mundane corporate life, but others would rather fight than join the broken-spirited hordes of the desk-bound. This was a recommendation from Alex DeCampi on Blue Sky, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, hell yeah, I need to read that. So I have a copy. It is in my to-read pile and on order from my comic store right now that I'm hopefully going to pick up relatively soon are Tongues by Anders Nilsson, which is it looks like hauntingly, gorgeously disturbing. A
I haven't read that one yet, but I love
Yeah,
Anders.
I
Love, love Anders.
this is the first I'm learning of Anders, and
Yeah.
it's a retelling of the Prometheus myth, which
Yeah.
Promethea being my favorite book of all time, I must read. especially when it looks so compelling. And then, of course, Reversal by DeCampi, Alex DeCampi, Skylar Partridge, and Kelly Fitzpatrick.
Patridge.
Patridge. My apologies.
Yeah,
Apologies. That is also
I
those
fixed it
two.
for you.
Well, thank you kindly. Oh, Patridge. Okay, gotcha. And then, yeah, that is a
That's the one that I've read.
gotcha.
Um,
I
because I read
I'm very
anything
excited for
by
it.
Alex DeCampi pretty much on the day that it comes out.
Nice.
Um, Sometimes even when I didn't know it was coming out,
Hmm.
like I didn't know that one was coming out and it came out and I bought it and I read it
Hmm.
first.
Hmm.
It
I'm pumped for it. It's a
managed to completely run below my radar,
wow.
but it's
Isn't it
really,
like
really good.
urban fantasy, queer mythology, kind of
A little
young
bit,
adult? But
yeah.
I have to imagine with DeCampi, it probably can skew older.
Incredibly
Um,
intelligent.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Bitingly funny. That was another thing when you mentioned that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
usually, where she feels smarter than you and all, and says she's also fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
So
no,
there's that.
she's I adore Alex DeCampi.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite people to talk to, and I'm always afraid to reach out again because I'm afraid that I managed to like convince her that I'm stupid the last time I talked, but she keeps coming back.
Oh,
So
hey, if
hopefully the next time I
if you ever
put
talk to her
together
again,
the
I'd love the
courage
chance
to
to
say,
talk to her
"Hey,
too.
Alex, come talk about this," she'll continue to say yes.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So,
Yeah. So those are three books I am sure will be spectacular, but we still need to confirm.
yeah. No. Well, I can confirm that
Uh,
Reversal is
oh yeah.
it's been on my amazing books list. It didn't make my Hope Will Be Spectacular because, like I said, somehow it
Under the
flew
radar.
under my radar. But then
Hmm.
it came out and made my amazing books list.
If you think about it, OGNs are probably easier to fly under the radar because you only get the one time that they come out to really hit on it, as opposed to a series that's every month.
Well, and I forget who put this one out. Like, it's
That was Dark
easy for
Horse.
me to find. Um, oh, it was even Dark Horse, so I really don't understand how I missed it.
Publishing has been weird. Things have been shuffling around. Honestly, this was one
Yeah.
that I heard about it when she announced it long before because since it was an OGN, I think it was also available. It was on the traditional book
Oh, that's right.
publishing
It was my
schedule.
birthday present to myself too.
Oh, nice. There you go. But yeah, so I heard about it. I was looking forward to it for a while, and then yeah, when it came out, it was a little bit of a surprise to me, and that's why I'm picking it up
I mean,
a couple months
really,
after.
like what happened for me is I missed all of the solicits. Otherwise,
Hmm.
we would have been talking about ahead of time
Hmm.
between Alex and Skylar.
Hmm.
Um, Somehow missed all of the solicits, but
Oh, that's funny. Their website says Partridge, even though they have it right next to the image that says Patridge. So at least I'm
yeah,
not the only one to make
gotcha.
the mistake.
Um, I mean, it could have been a spell check mistake even.
Fair.
So like I don't remember, and maybe it just flew in between previews or I don't know,
Hmm.
because there's been so much publisher dishevel that I just haven't always been
Exactly.
able to keep up on what's coming out ahead of time,
Soliciting,
you know.
resoliciting, shuffling the
Right.
schedules. Like you said, even with the Cantwell and Santos.
Well,
Um,
yeah, and
yeah.
some stuff I know about and then it gets rescheduled. But I don't
Right.
think I knew about this one at all.
Mm,
Maybe it just got pushed back, but I feel like I didn't know about it at all until I got an email um, from Amazon
hmm.
to tell me that there was a new book out from Alex DeCampi. And I clicked on it and I went, "Oh, this looks cool." And I clicked on it again and I had a digital copy and I started reading
Nice. Just
it.
I will also add, I forgot I left off of the credits Hassan Otsomeyahu, um,
Uh,
which
Hassan Atsmain El How.
Atsme
He's
El
been a
How.
guest. I
I
know this.
I
Atsmain
apologize.
El How.
I have been butchering pronunciations. I knew you would know.
Yeah.
Yes,
This is
and
one that I know.
I left.
Skylar hasn't been a guest, but
Mhm.
thought I talked with Pornsak Pichette Choate
Hmm.
about her because she did one of the Horizon experiments.
Right, right.
Um,
But Alex usually does her own lettering on her books, so I'm going to be very interested to see how
yeah.
Hassan brings his art because he's another fantastic letterer.
Oh,
Um,
he's
absolutely.
I've come to appreciate so many different lettering styles and become friends with enough letterers that
Yeah,
I'm uncomfortable calling him hands down the best in the business,
there's so many good ones.
but
They're all
he
so
does
good.
it. He's he's the most unique. If I had a
Yes.
job where I knew that I wanted to do something different, like
Right.
really different,
Hmm.
he'd be the one that I called.
Okay.
Um,
I might have to, because I have that's an aspect of the book that's been in my back pocket for the past
right.
3 years.
Um,
Unique lettering.
like if I wanted somebody who was going to find a way to elevate my book without 99% of readers ever realizing that it was the letterer that had elevated my book, it'd be
Right.
Clayton Coles.
Yeah, he's good. He's really
Um,
good. If I was feeling wordy, I would go to Clayton because I know he works well with large amounts of text for sure.
well, but
Um,
he's also just really fantastic with balloon placement, with
mhm.
tail placement.
That is one thing I noticed. I didn't realize on these early issues of Lazarus, Lark was lettering himself.
Right,
And there were a couple panels in this most recent issue where I noticed I was like, "Oh, that's a weird balloon placement." And that was
right,
when I realized, "Oh, Lark is lettering himself. This is interesting."
right.
I
Or at least one of them is lettering
No, it
because it
says by
says
Lark.
art and letters.
Oh, art and
On
letters.
this issue,
Oh,
anyway, it
fair,
says
fair, fair.
art and
Okay,
letters and it has
you're
all
right. You're
three
right.
of them.
Okay, so yeah, but it's eventually I'll be interested to see exactly when they bring a letterer on board. But I know the more recent issues absolutely have a letterer. And I will say again for my day job, I am appreciating lettering a lot more when I have to worry about fitting very tiny print into a very small space. So
Right, right.
it's
I
been
mean,
it's been
well,
eye-opening.
and I mean, there's so much that goes into lettering that like we don't
Hmm.
want to go off too much because we're wrapping up, but
We're already at a long one.
um, there's so much that goes into lettering that we don't
Yes.
think about, like from which words to highlight or not
Hmm.
highlight to bold and which ones not, to how to shape your balloon, to
Hmm.
how to put the tails, to where to put the balloon, to draw the
Right.
reader through the page,
To what shape
um,
to make the, yeah, all those things.
different fonts. Are
Yep.
you using an all capital font? Are you
Yeah.
using a capital and lowercase font?
Hmm. Hmm.
Are
Yeah. It,
are you uniform across your book? Do you have different fonts for different? I mean, there's a
yeah.
lot that goes into lettering that doesn't get considered.
Hmm.
And like the other thing is that like, and I think one of the reasons Alex does her own lettering most of the time, one of the reasons that um Erica Schultz does her own lettering most of the time is
Oh, cool.
like uh if the writer decides to change something once they see it,
Hmm.
that sucks as a letterer,
Oh, I've
because you're
heard.
scheduled to the hilt, and to have somebody go back, oh, can you just fix this page? Like, we'll pay you again. And it's like, it's not, will you pay me again? It's,
Hmm.
you're throwing off my schedule.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I now have to choose, do I want to make your book late or do I want to make someone else's book late? And that's never a choice you want to have to make. Yeah.
Or am I putting in an extra whatever?
God, yeah. Do I get sleep tonight? Yeah. Don't want to have to
Right.
make people make those choices. Absolutely.
Um, so like I think that some of the people who letter their own work, one of the reasons they taught themselves is because if they decide to rewrite it, it's way different than if they're rewriting it for somebody else.
Hmm.
I've heard some people say, never actual letters, other people in comics. because the letterers don't want to piss people off. I'm pretty certain that like lettering passes shouldn't exist. Once it's
Yeah.
lettered, you're locked.
Yeah. No, that is what I aim for when I
Lettering
eventually make
passes
a.
should exist for proofreading purposes only.
Yes, I agree. I that is the standard I'm going to try to hold myself to when I eventually make a comic with words in it.
Right.
That's my
Or letter
goal.
yourself. If you letter
Exactly,
yourself, then
exactly. When it's my time, I can pull.
Nate Picos actually makes a huge number of his fonts and whatnot available to
I've heard that. I've seen it.
independent
Yeah.
comics creators.
There are the indie fonts for free use. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that's another thing that's great about
So,
comics is the sharing of
right.
resources. Yeah.
Right. Well, all righty. We're gonna just cut this now. We're gonna call it a day. Uh, for 22 panels, this has been Phil. This has been me, and we will see you after the next page as soon as I figure out where the hell my there it is. Stop record button is. See you after the next.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22panels podcast.